His A1C was at 7.8. And then we're at 5.6. He went in the beginning, we were 1 unit of insulin to 15 carbs. And then within 3 days, we were 1 unit of insulin to, at the time, it was like 80 carbs. And now we're at 1 unit of insulin to about 45 carbs. My son Jackson was diagnosed in 2019, December 22nd. And of course, through the whirlwind of information that you're given at the doctor's office and the hospital, my husband and I walked away just flooded with information and not sure where to turn. And we stumbled across the book, Mastering Diabetes, a few months after Jackson was diagnosed. The book is very thick. It is very technical. And I read the book in like 2 days. I listened to it on Audible, thank goodness. But it was absolutely incredible. And I knew at that moment, this is it. Like, we're going to try this. And I remember working with one of your coaches and saying, okay, what do we need to do to get started? I mean, he was 4 at the time. And she had said, okay, we'll just start with breakfast and then we'll work our way to lunch and then work our way to dinner and we can slowly integrate this. And I'm like, I'm an all or nothing. Let's rip the Band-Aid off and go all the way into it. And at the time we were eating more of like a paleo lifestyle, which is your high fat, low carbs. Switching within 3 days, his insulin sensitivity was insanely good. It was wild. And I remember like emailing and texting the coach and saying, what do I do? Like, he's going low again. And she's like, it's okay. Just keep eating. And he was having the time of his life because he had like all this watermelon. And I remember it was summertime, all this watermelon, the strawberries. And he's just like having the time of his life. He didn't need insulin for all this and he's eating. So that was kind of the start of our journey. And through that, I was introduced to Dr. Lori Marbus. She is the one who talked me into writing a book. I remember sitting in the hospital and there's so many technical terms and so much information that you're like, you feel a little lost. And when I was talking to Dr. Marbus, I'm like, I guess I could create like a guide to where families could read through as they're sitting in the hospital versus like Google search. And then you get lost in Google and then you're like almost even more scared than anything. So it's just a guide, a quick guide of, how do I go through birthday parties for the first time? Or what does A1C really mean? What is C-peptide and how does that tie into type 1 diabetes? And, all of the acronyms that are used in the type 1 diabetes space to correlate them to speak to another mother or father or caregiver. There's other ways to make the holiday fun without always being food focused or really kind of altering how food is presented. So like in some of my photos, we do big charcuterie boards of vegetables or a fruit and it's colorful and it's fun. And it's really amazing just to see kind of that transformation with the kids of like, oh yeah, okay, this is cool. It doesn't have to be bags of Doritos and Oreos. So the whole goal is a book that is purchased, I will then donate a book back to a newly diagnosed family. So this whole thing is literally a labor of love and giving back to the type 1 diabetes community. So before the Mastering Diabetes program, his A1C was at 7.8. And then we're at 5.6. From 5.6, it's extremely rewarding as a parent. And I know for Jackson, he takes a lot of pride in it as well, because, it's for him at the end of the day, he's managing this, right? And he wants to stay in range because he knows the more he stays in range, the longer his life will be. And it's so important. Now there's going to be periods in which his A1C will fluctuate. I mean, he's a 9-year-old boy who's supposed to be 6'2". Watch out. It's already these growth spurts, so it's something fierce. He went in the beginning, we were 1 unit of insulin to 15 carbs. And then within 3 days, we were 1 unit of insulin to, at the time, it was like 80 carbs. And now we're at 1 unit of insulin to about 45 carbs. And if he eats very clean, it's about 55 carbs. I mean, it had to be so high. I can't even imagine. I mean, we were eating like bacon for breakfast and bacon and cheeseburgers for lunch. And then dinner was probably chicken and bacon. I don't know. Like, it was very, very high. So if you can calculate based on those foods, like, you can imagine how high it was. And now he's down to, what is it, like 28 grams of fat per day. But the carb ratio, I mean, he was probably 50 to 100 carbs, not many carbs with how we were eating before, to now it's like almost 500 carbs he's eating and requires so much less insulin. Managing through that, but still keeping within, a good parameter is key. And I think education for him, even though he's 9, I know it's a lot to take on, but I truly believe like he's all in and like, okay, what do we need to do, Mom? What do we need to do? Okay. And there's times where, you know what, he might want to go have that Oreo, and that's okay. No, we'll figure it out. But then afterwards, he's like, oh, that wasn't worth it. Like he understands his body well enough to where he knows, like, as much as that looked enticing, it really wasn't all that great. I would say it is definitely worth it. I mean, it's been a game changer for our family, and not only my health, but also the rest of the family's health. We have seen a difference just in our own bodies. And even if it isn't 100%, I tell you what, if you just did 80%, it changes how you feel. Like, I no longer have acid reflux or no longer have aches and pains. It's amazing how your body really talks to you in ways. Start with breakfast, remove the eggs and the bacon, try the smoothies, try oatmeal. I mean, there's so many like delicious foods out there to just try and see how you feel. It is hard, and you definitely want to make sure you're either working with somebody, at Mastering Diabetes, or reading and making sure you're getting that right nutritional content, because you definitely don't want to be lacking. And that's one thing I keep an eye on, making sure everybody's like, oh, how do you get your protein? So we make sure we are really diligent about, that. But at the end of the day, I look at, if you're eating all the colors of the rainbow, you're feeding the microbiome, it's staying healthy, which then feeds the immune system. It's one big, beautiful circle, right? So I'd say go for it. It's not going to be super easy, but I promise it is well worth it.